Our film begins in the year 1989 in Berlin. At the time, Germany was divided into two countries. They are East Germany and West Germany, and there will be a separation wall between them called the Berlin Wall. On a city street, British agent James is running as fast as he can, as if running away from someone chasing him, until it reaches an empty street, and makes sure he can escape, but suddenly, a car blooms behind him, knocking him down more than once, and the Russian agent, Captain, came down from it and pointed his gun at James, and the one who tells him that he knows that Sish is the one who betrayed him, but it was that he would die at the hands of the most skilled agent in the KGB, which is the Russian intelligence, not just a small customer like him. A captain laughs at him and kills him without hesitation, and it takes an hour from his hand. And Bezar, it is very important. Then he removes James's body and throws it at me. The river. 10 days later, in the city of London, the British agent Lorraine blooms while she is sleeping in a basin full of snow. In order to treat the financial wounds of her body, then you get out of the bathtub, and she looks at her picture with James and burns the picture, and her eyes are all sad. On the second day, she goes to the British intelligence building, and there she is interrogated by the agent and the CIA agent, which is the American intelligence, and who ask her about what happened in Berlin. The story begins on the day James dies on a mission to obtain a list of the names of all the double agents in the world, and this list will be available at the time he seized it, and then Lauren will be summoned as the most skilled agent in the British intelligence agency. Lauren stays with Special Operations Commander Agent CJ, and Agent Eric will be with him. They assign her the task of retrieving a secret list containing the names of double agents. Because of them, the Cold War continues for more than 40 years, and that whoever could steal it and deliver it to James and his enemy, they are protecting him. And they show her his picture, and his name is Spyglass. Agent Eric tells her that she should take notice of another double agent, whose name is a pseudonym, Seychelles, and Puria, the image of the British client, who will be her assistant in Berlin, and his name is David. Lauren travels to her mission in Berlin. She is disguised as the lawyer responsible for receiving James's body, and the deportation of the body from Germany to Britain. And Lorraine arrives in Berlin, and David is waiting in front of the airport, but she is very demanding, and suddenly a car comes and tells her that it belongs to David, and that they will deliver it to you. And you ride the car and notice the presence of a girl watching her from afar, and you move with them, but they are the catalyst for the map. And you know they're not on their way to David, so she quickly attacked the customer next to her, expecting him from the car. Then you kill the driver and make a Sharpie in Arabic. Suddenly David blooms and helps her get out of the car, and they walk. Meanwhile, Russian agents are still cooperating with the German police and are looking for. This is because Russia considers him a traitor. And you want to kill him, and every day, a group of young men hold on to the same place where he is, in order to know his whereabouts, but it is useless, and Lauren returns home and enters the bathtub as usual, to treat her body wounds. Suddenly, she senses that there is someone in her apartment, so she expects him to be there, and attacks him, and it turns out that he is David. Lauren asks him where James's apartment is to go. The next day, Lauren goes to James's apartment and keeps looking. Anything you can point to the double agent who was the cause of his death, and you see a picture of James with David. Suddenly, you hear the sound of the police. And he didn't have any weapons with him. A long rope, and she uses it as a weapon, and she can get rid of 6 people from the police, and then she jumps with the rope from the balcony. And she tied it to the neck of one of the policemen, and she goes down the street quietly. And she walks, and we return to the investigation office in London, and Lorraine tells the investigators that at that time, no one knew of her presence in James's apartment except David. And we go back to the city of Berlin at the time when Lauren goes to the morgue to fulfill her fake position as a lawyer and to complete the procedures for receiving the body. However, the official discovers that there is an error in Lauren's passport and prevents her from receiving the case until she corrects this error. Lauren has a deliberate error in her passport. This is to make it an excuse to spend more time in Berlin. Then she goes to David and asks him about his picture with James, which she saw in his apartment. David chuckles and tells her that he forgot to tell her that they We're friends, and Lauren is still trying to understand him. This is because she suspects that he is the same double agent, but she can't reach a need, and you know from him the place where the Russian agents stay. And this is to make sure if the disease reached them or not. They look for it, and she goes to a tavern, where there is a senior official from the Russian intelligence. His name is Ibrahimovic. Once she arrives, Ibrahimovic tries to get to know her, but a French girl interrupts them, and her name is Dolphin. It turns out that she is the same girl who was watching Lorraine until her arrival in Berlin, and it tells Ibrahimovic that she and Lauren are friends, and Ibrahimovic is forced to walk. Then Dolphin and Lauren apologize for her interference and tell her she wanted to pick her up. By introducing herself, she works as a translator, and you ask them to go out together, and you give her a club address. You will always be there. And she walks and leaves her. Lauren remains suspicious of her, but she will not have evidence. And then you go to a store for hours, and the one whose friend is a British agent like her, and she has a specific watch in which she has guesses of the location of a person who will help her search for her and tell her that this person will be very useful to her. At this time, David appears while he is in his house and eavesdrops on her while she is in the watch store. On the second day, she brings her passport to go to West Berlin, and it turns out that the Russian agents are watching her every move, so she decides that she distracts them, and she enters a different building from the one where her assistant is. There, the Russian agents besieged it, but you can get rid of and escape through the back door of the building and go to the desired place, and there you meet the customer and sit with him, and we go back to Lorraine while he is interrogating her in the intelligence building, and the client asks her about the reason that made her seek the help of people in another city, even though her main assistant is in the East, and he meant David. Lauren reminds them of what they said to her before the mission, and she never gets stuck in anyone. And we go back to Lorraine, who is sitting in her house, and she hears the recording she made of herself while at the bar, and then she thinks of Dolphin. So she decides to go to the club that she told her, and there they meet, and she asks Dolphin from Lorraine to talk in a quiet place. Suddenly, Lauren attacks Dolphin and takes the gun that she is hiding. Dolphin confesses that she is from the French Secret Service and that she is also investigating Maud James. And this is because he is an agent of the coalition, and that's why France is interested in knowing the reason for his death, but she cries and says she thought the task was easy, but she discovered that Berlin is a dangerous city full of Russian and German agents. Lauren decides to date her. This is because it can be useful to her at some point in time, and they come back home together. There, a Dolphin wants to tell Lorraine important information about David. But before she speaks, Lauren quickly silences her and turns up the music. And it appears that it is dangerous information. At this time, he goes to the same watch store where Lorraine used to be. He tells the British agent that he has the watch and that he will sell it to the country that will pay him the most. Then, he walks and leaves him, and David keeps an eye on him, and he waits for the right time and attacks him, and he kills him and takes the watch from him and walks away. At this time, British intelligence remains waiting for any important information from Lorraine. But it's too late, so they decide that they are the one who remains the same American agent who is interrogating him, and he keeps getting her a message from her boss that she doesn't distract herself and get the job done in the fastest time. Then Lauren meets David and asks him if he knows where he is, but he tells her that he doesn't know anything about him, and this is even though he was the one who killed him, and he took the watch himself. Lauren believes him. This is because she does not know that he is lying, and she asks him if he's watering in spyglass, and this is because they will sacrifice their lives to let it pass from the eastern side to the western side, from the Russians and from the Germans. David tells her that he is the person you can drive the most in all of them. Lauren is surprised and asks him if they met before. This is because he told her that he had never met him. David confesses to her that he lied to her and that he meet him already. He tells her that spyglass triggered the whole scent in his memory. That is why he is a very important customer for them, and we go back to the intelligence building. Lauren tells the detectives, it's if she knew spyglass was a valued client, she prioritized him over anything else. Agent Eric tells her, originally David called them the same, day, he informed them that the hour was with him. Lauren was very shocked, and then you look at them with a hint of sarcasm, and she tells them that she is supposed to know from them, and the investigators cannot answer her, and we return to Berlin at the time, when David agrees with Lauren on a plan to send spy with it from the eastern side to the western side, and Lauren agrees to his plan, but she tells him that the passports will be completed in a place belonging to her, and David agrees and comes with him for the mission. Lauren meets Spy for the first time and reassures him that he will be. It's good, and it makes him change his appearance, and he has to wear certain clothes for the western side, and this is so that he can pass. Lauren's assistant brings passports in. David dresses as an officer so that no one suspects him. Before they moved, a mother intervened with her daughter, and who are the wife and daughter of Spay. Lauren gets very angry and tells David that this was not part of the plan. David tells her that this is his plan, so Lauren starts and has to make extra passports for the mother and her daughter, and she agrees with David that Spy will be with her. As for the mother and her daughter, they will be with David. It appears that Russian intelligence is distributed in all the buildings on the street. David and Lorraine use the time of the festivals to disappear into the crowd, and they go out with Al-Mazara, but the intelligence agents are able to locate them, and before they hit the fire, Lorraine consults her assistant, who suddenly leaves. A large number of people open their umbrellas at one time. David tells Lorraine that this was not part of the plan, so she tells him that this is her plan. David gets to the police car he's going to ride, and lets Spy's wife and daughter ride him. Then he takes out his gun, and he shoots Spy himself, and Lauren doesn't know who set the fire, and you notice the presence of more than one sniper in a certain building. She quickly takes Spy with her, and you go towards the building, and she appreciates that she defeats all the work in it, but Spy remains seriously injured, and Lauren leaves the building with him and meets a policeman, so she points the gun at him and gets into his car, and moves at full speed in the streets, chasing more than one car, but she is able to get rid of them easily. Then she leaves the car to treat Spy's wound, but suddenly a huge car comes in, hits her and throws her from the bridge, and the car falls in the river because the force of the blow puts two Spay men in the chair, and he is unable to open the door. She dictates the Arabic with water, and Lauren tries to hide herself as much as she can to get the two Spay men out, but she can't catch him. He dies, and Lauren loses her mission. It is impossible for the intelligence services to reach them with such ease. She prefers to search everywhere in her apartment for a listening device, and she sits on the floor, collapsed, unable to think. Suddenly, she thinks of herself while she is in David's house. She takes her jacket and sees the jacket, and finds a listening device professionally implanted in it. Suddenly, a dolphin comes and tells her to Lorraine. She flees, and this is because they are exposed, and she shows her the device, and she gets what she needs and walks away. So Dolphin returns home and enters full of pictures of Lorraine, and then she calls David and tells him that he cheated on her and wanted to sign her, and that she knows that he is independent of her, but he does not know what she can do, and she hangs up. Then Dolphin collects certain photos and puts them in an envelope and writes Lauren's name on it. At this time, the people will succeed in demolishing the Berlin Wall in order to unite Germany again. Meanwhile, David goes to Dolphin's house and attacks her to kill her, but a dolphin can hit him in the back with a knife before she dies. After a while, Lauren arrives. She sees a dead dolphin and breaks down with grief over her, and then she enters her room. Her pictures are everywhere, and she finds an envelope with her name written on it, and the first time she opens it, she sees a group of pictures of David, and he is with the Russian intelligence official Ibrahimovic more than once. At this time, David stays with him and prepares his needs to. He runs away and gets drunk at home to erase all the evidence. Then he goes out to get in his car, but he finds Lauren waiting for him, and she hits him with fire, and David falls on the ground. So Lauren takes the watch from him and calls him the name of the double agent and kills him, a reason for her to kill David. Lauren gets mad at them and tells them that they sold her to a hornet's nest, and they knew from the first moment in which Germany arrived that its identity had been revealed, and despite that, they left it. And she tells them that she knows that they want the hour to deal with their scandals, which they made during the Cold War, and for them it was just a performance. You give them their requests, and let them hear recordings, David with Ibrahimovic, and the pictures that I found with a dolphin, and also with a captain before he dies, and make sure to them that he is the double agent. And who was the reason for killing James? Eric asks her where she is, but Lauren tells him she doesn't know. Agent C, who had been watching the conversation all the time, comes out, and he tells her that he does not know how to inform the Prime Minister of this information, but he will consider that the investigation that took place with her did not proceed and that the mission did not exist in the first place. He tells her that he will give her a long vacation until her next assignment comes. Lauren returns home, and she prepares her bags to travel to Paris. There, it will completely change its shape, and you enter a hotel where you meet Ibrahimovic himself. She shows him the watch and tells him that she felt that he would kill her. So Ibrahimovic takes the watch. Suddenly he enters and they surround Lauren. And they prepare the bag in which they put her body in it. Lauren pulled out her revolver. It stays hidden in the snow. It kills everyone in the room, including Ibrahimovic. Before he dies, she tells him that he is stupid because he thought she would give him the real watch, and that everyone she deals with is stupid because she was not working for one of them. Then you will leave the hotel and arrive at the airport. There, he is waiting for a private plane with an American agent in it, and whoever tells her that they will return to their homeland. So you start the hour and take a deep breath, and she remains at the top of her happiness. She is finally returning home after an absence, and we understand that she is originally an American agent. And don't forget to subscribe to the Ladybug Synopsis channel.